3 weeks ago now, I ran a souped-up version of Blessings Unheralded with my On and Off Wrath and Glory group. This week, I thought I'd review it. Blessings Unheralded was a free RPG day handout that acted as a first taster into Wrath and Glory seen for many, if not all of us who started off with its first iteration by Ulysses North. The free RPG day pack came with a bunch of things, including 6 pre-made character sheets for your players to choose from off the bat without needing lengthy character creation sessions or a session 0, an adventure called Blessings Unheralded with the first 24 pages of the book covering basics of the rules, a few of the mechanics you'll encounter during the session, and a quick introduction to the 40k universe, leaving the other 10 pages or so for the adventure itself. A bunch of pawns for the table play, or to cut out and use virtually, and a map to be used for the final encounter. This is a pretty decent collection, in all honesty. I watched a couple of other people play through this prior to this, and the average playtime seems to be at around 2.5 to 3 hours, which is a solid evening for players to get into the game. My own experiences of it are quite similar. I built out the start as my characters had some unfinished business, and as for the adventure itself, I built it out towards the end to encourage more exploration with the sanitarium and also a few more combat-based encounters. I also spent a great deal of time creating a proper sized map in Roll20, as an important aspect of play for my players is exploration. Anyway, I digress. What's it like as a standalone or introduction? Well, I actually really like the fact that the characters are almost instantly thrown into combat. It's a combat that they can all handle without any problems, which is perfect. It gives them an opportunity to learn the combat rules. The story begins on Enoch, and the players are to assume that they have had an agent friend that has fallen ill and needs medical attention only a hospital can fix. I incorporated this plot point from a previous session involving a toxin that paralysed an NPC the agents needed to secure a reward for the services from. From there, you're thrown into a poxwalker attack, and then met with Sergeant Grosvenor, who introduces you to Deploratus' sanitarium. She asks your agents to help find the source, and off you go. Players can find themselves in the morgue and the wards, and discover the presence of the abacus syndrome, and eventually figure out it's being used to break into the grain processing plants nearby. This in turn is being used to poison the rest of the sector, and eventually the whole of Enoch itself. The NPCs in the adventure are all from varied backgrounds, so it offers an appreciated little variety in role-playing and also interactions, which is good. One of my players in particular is new to the Warhammer universe, so they're finding it fun learning about the different sub-factions within the Imperium. Overall, I found the adventure to be an excellent premise and a good frame to build upon. It's a quick introductory one-shot, and surprisingly good storyline for it, so I was pretty pleased by it. I'd highly recommend it as a starting point or even a stop-off session for groups. The idea of a psychically powered virus spreading to people's minds to use them like one huge network calculator is a stroke of genius. Though don't be surprised if your players start to suspect Konig almost immediately. There isn't much wiggle room to point fingers at other people within the sanitarium. The only real drawbacks I can get from this is that it takes a proper sit down from the DM to work out the flow and direction your characters might take. There are a few details here and there that I had to add in and take away to streamline the experience, but overall, the story and the characters are great. My players thoroughly enjoyed their experience with it. If you're interested in seeing a playthrough, please check out the link in the description. Many thanks.